Okay, it looks like I'm live on here. Let me go live on here. Can turn it. I don't really know what I'm doing for real. Okay. Okay, so, all right, I think I'm set up. I don't do lives often, so perfect. And I think I can see everything. Okay. All right, so full disclosure, I've tried to do this before and I got discouraged. Not even gonna lie. But no, so I'm on live on Instagram live, on YouTube live right now. So I'm gonna be looking at both cameras. But yeah, so I tried to do this before. Full disclosure, I got discouraged, so I stopped. But this is important that I basically offer my knowledge and insight to those that may not have a doula, may not know what a doula is, are not at the point where they're, trying to get a doula, but the information is still important. So I'm going to be doing these weekly where you can come in and just ask any question that you have, typically questions that you would ask a doula or ask somebody else, during pregnancy, or it could be about reproductive health. It could be about um, anything related to our bodies and our womb. And if I don't know the answer, then I will give you the resources to research on your own or follow back up with you. Because it's really important that we are just aware and knowledgeable about our bodies and what goes on with our bodies, what kind of changes we can expect, and how to support ourselves in these different and trying times. So while it's really nobody in here asking a lot of questions or asking any questions for that matter, I'm just going to answer some normal questions that I get most frequently. So first being, what is a doula? A doula is a support person, and there's a variety of different types of doulas. I'm a birth and postpartum doula, a full spectrum doula. So I work with people in a variety of different journeys related to reproductive health or children or things like that. So I work with women that are currently pregnant. I support during labor, after a woman or a birthing person has delivered. Um, Also, by full spectrum, I mean that I work with people that have different gender identities and gender expressions and different sexual orientations. Um, so, yeah, so a support person. So, that support can look like a variety of things, giving you information about a certain condition that you may have that you don't know too much about. Listening and being there in the middle of the night when you're going through some emotional stuff regarding certain fears that you may be experiencing, or after your appointments, if there's questions that you forgot to ask or didn't feel comfortable asking your healthcare provider, you might hit me up or call or text me. Another thing I do is provide actual labor support. So during birth, um, one thing I hear a lot is people will say, "Oh, you birth babies." I do not birth babies. Doulas do not deliver babies. Doulas play a different role than a midwife or an OBGYN. So from doula care, you can expect someone to support you during the entire journey, not just at the end, or not providing medical services like I wouldn't check your blood pressure, those types of things, or I'm not going to do vaginal exam to see your dilation. That's really not in the doula realm. What's another common question that I get? How much do doulas cost? So a lot of people ask about the price of doulas and is it covered by insurance? Depending on what state you're in and what types of insurance you have, doula care may be reimbursed through your insurance company, or a flexible spending account. You know, when you have like those HSA cards and things like that, they might be able to reimburse you for doula care. In my state, really, it's out of pocket, and the cost for doulas really depends on the doula. Like there's a range. Also, how doulas go about collecting our payments are different. For example, you might find like a lot of doulas will offer like a payment plan or a sliding scale payment, something like that, because at the end of the day, if we're in this field, we're really about supporting birthing people. Like that's our mission, that's our, you know, that's our goal. So you'll find a lot more flexibility when it comes to payment for most doulas. Birth and a lot of pregnant and different things that people don't question and are so quick to invest their money into, and those types of things. So I would just say, as someone who is interested in getting a doula, or is starting to do that research, keep in mind that doula support is directly connected to a lot of benefits and health-wise positive outcomes for birth and labor and delivery, and postpartum care, and postpartum doulas support you through healing. So this aspect of paying should be just as, if not more important than some of the other expenses that people have no problem with investing in. So I'll say that. Everyone deserves to be supported during birth. Everyone deserves to be educated and empowered during the both birth process and postpartum. So that's important. Another thing that a lot of people ask about is specifically regarding the postpartum period. So I'm just going to quickly go over postpartum. And this video is being recorded on YouTube. So that's why I'm going over like frequently asked questions right now, because I'm going to post it either way. So postpartum is, if you're not aware, is the time directly after delivery. So a lot of people associate it with maybe 4 to 6 weeks after you have your baby, but postpartum is really like, I look at it as up to a year afterwards, because your body is still healing. It's still going through the phase of going back to and experiencing these new things after delivering your baby, after you've carried, life and children, and after your body has gone through these hormonal changes. There's a significant period of time that you need to get back to a state of normalcy, whatever. So postpartum. So specifically in our community in the United States, it's common for birthing people, and specifically women, to have this expectation that, boom, you have your baby, 6 weeks later, like, you're getting ready to go back to work. And with that, a lot of times we're not properly taking care of ourselves in the healing process and supporting ourselves during, that important healing time. For some people, there is no additional support at home. So you deliver your baby, you go right back to the home. You might have other children. You might have household duties to take care of. Some people only get 2 weeks after they deliver their baby. I've seen people go back to work within 10 days after delivering. So it's common for us to kind of skip the the settle and heal process. So a postpartum doula will be there to help you with a variety of things. One thing that I offer is basically household duties. So after my client goes back home and after they've had a chance to settle and kind of figure out, you know, a lot of times figure out what they really need help with, because a lot of times they don't know. We have in our minds like what we need help with, but a lot of times it looks different when you're actually working on a couple hours of sleep and you're breastfeeding and you're doing all these things. So I might go and clean up, or do the laundry, pack lunches for their children, prepare them some meals. I might just sit with them, hold the baby in the bed next to them while they take a nap. I might relieve them from having the baby in the room at all. Some people get overwhelmed and kind of feel like they need a break. I'll still be in the home, in the living room, for example, while they're in the resting, and they know, like, you know, their child is safe. Sometimes I will sit there with the mother in the middle of the night. So sometimes it's a scenario where they just don't want to be alone and their partner may be at work, and they just need somebody to support them during that part. So it looks different for everyone, but it's all around this support and like community and a friend that you trust around your child and around in your home to help you to ease into this new place and space. So yeah, postpartum is very important. I'm trying to think what else are commonly asked questions. So one thing I get a lot is after a client will go to their doctor's appointment, the doctors will tell them all these things, and a lot of times they will kind of take the doctor's information and then go home and have questions or feel uncomfortable or uneasy. So a big thing I tell my clients is, if after your appointments you feel uncomfortable or uneasy about something, call me so we can talk about it. Because sometimes it's just you don't really understand what they're talking about. Sometimes it's you don't feel comfortable with what they're telling you. And a lot of cases, it's either you might need a second opinion or you might just need some more information to feel comfortable. So that's another thing. Like, don't be hesitant to like use your doula. If you hire a doula, do not be hesitant to use your doula. Ask those questions. I'm a big texter. So after my clients go to appointments, or if they're having a great day or a bad day, I'll tell them, hey, text me anytime in the middle of the night, whatever. The big thing about having doula support that people don't realize is so significant sometimes is that we're there throughout the whole process. So we're so used to having a doctor that we may see maybe once a year at our annual, or working with the OBGYN that we just see at our scheduled prenatal appointments, or that's really the only time we talk to them. With a doula, they are there for really unlimited support during your journey. So it's comforting to know that any question, like, symptoms come and go, change, and every trimester can feel different, every pregnancy can feel different. So it's helpful to just know, like, oh snap, I just had this weird symptom that I never had before, and it's 8 o'clock at night. I'm Googling and Google is kind of freaking me out. I can text my doula, or let me text my doula. Or, oh, I just had one of those pregnancy dream nightmares and I want to basically shake this off, but it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Let me text my doula. You know, like that's a huge thing. Um, Another thing I want to talk about that's very important is naturally inducing labor. So I get asked this a lot by clients and by just random people whenever I tell them that I'm a doula and they're pregnant. When people are around, sometimes even as early as 36 weeks, but when they're in the last stretch between 36 weeks and on, and they're so close to their due date, or they're so focused on their due date, and they're tired of being pregnant, like it's heavy, their back is hurting, they can't get a good sleep, they're constantly counting kicks, and they're just ready to finally meet their baby, I start getting the, how can I naturally induce labor? What do you suggest to naturally induce labor? So I personally do not advise that you try to naturally induce labor. I will provide tips when you are in labor and it's perhaps stalled or slowing down. But when you are around 36, 37, 38, 39, even 40 weeks, I typically will not give advice on different options to try to induce labor. And here's why. I'm a strong believer that the majority of the time our bodies know and our baby knows when we need to go into labor. And of course, there are times where people may need additional help or assistance, but in my experience, the majority of the time we go into labor exactly when we're supposed to. The problem that I have with trying to give suggestions on naturally inducing labor is forcing a process that your body might not yet be prepared for. And there's such development that goes on in the last few weeks that I don't want to rush that. I don't want to cut that off. I don't want to basically aid in doing that. So I typically will advise against it unless it's something that I know for sure is not going to directly induce labor. So there's things, for example, like walking. Walking is always not always, but majority of the time is great anyway. It's exercise. It gets your blood circulating. It gets you out of the house, your mind not really thinking about it. Walking is great. That's fine. I see people say things like taking castor oil, and that can be very risky. So I do not advise that at all. If I see people giving that advice to my clients, I strongly suggest against using castor oil. And as castor oil as far as ingesting it. The reason is that castor oil can cause cramp-like contractions that do not necessarily progress labor and can cause diarrhea for my client and also cause meconium in the fluid of the baby. So I do not advise using castor oil to induce labor. This is a common suggestion that people always give, and I do not suggest it. If you're even considering it, I would say do a lot of research on that before you go there, especially if you're before your due date. Another thing is, remember that due dates are just estimates. They're not a guarantee. It's not this like cutoff day, like this is my due date, I'm definitely going to go into labor that day. That's really just not how it works. And a lot of times due dates are off. A lot of times they're incorrect. It's based on an average, and babies can do different things and size different things. Conception dates can vary. We can be off, So just don't take your due date as like this end all be all cutoff time, because that's not. A common thing is people will have like eviction notice stickers or, eviction notice photo shoots for their due dates, but you don't have to hold due dates to such a definite standard. What's another naturally way. Having sex, as long as you don't have any restrictions. Like some people have restrictions against that for different medical reasons. But if you don't have any restrictions and you don't have any complications that would cause or that would lead to that activity being dangerous or risky, then that's another great way to encourage the body to let you know when it's time to go into labor. But yeah, those are the main ways. Like I don't, I'm not a like other things that people have said, like eating dates, stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as you don't have an allergy, dates are completely fine. Drinking red raspberry leaf tea, those types of things. As long as you are close to your due date, that's fine. But as far as anything that you're taking into your body, ingesting, I would say do your research, ask your doula, get second and third and fourth opinions before you try anything, because you've waited this long, you made it this far. It doesn't make sense to rush now. Okay. Woo! Got off that tangent. Okay. What other things? So, a question I just got recently was about delivering the afterbirth or delivering the placenta. Does it hurt? What's it like? How does it feel? So after a traditional vaginal birth, you're going to deliver your afterbirth or your placenta, or otherwise known as placenta. And typically, your body is going to still continue to make the contractions to deliver your placenta. Sometimes you need a little help as far as maybe pushing, or a midwife may facilitate this with pushing on your uterus. Sometimes if you're in a hospital setting, they'll literally try to pull it or ask or give you Pitocin or different things like that. It really depends on where you're delivering, but overall, delivering the placenta is normally not as strenuous as delivering the baby, because at that point you've pushed the baby out, so this is just the sac afterwards. Another reason why it's so important to take your healing seriously is because when that placenta comes out, that's the size of the wound, the whole gaping hole in your womb that you can expect needs to be healed. So just taking your time and understanding that your body has to now go back, retrack back to where it was. Yeah, so it's 222. What other important questions come up about doulas, pregnancy, reproductive health? Okay, where should you deliver? So a lot of people typically deliver or know about delivering either at their local hospital or at home. And for some, the idea of a home birth is overwhelming or intimidating. The idea of a hospital birth is normal, so a lot of people will opt for that. You also can find local birth centers if your area has them. Like I know where I live, we only have one. So it's really either the hospitals, the one birth center, or home. Finding the birth centers and midwives that do home births can be a little bit difficult, but now with social media and the internet, you can find tons of resources. Almost everyone has a website nowadays, or at least a business phone number, or listed in some directory. Referrals. If you go to the homeopathic or holistic health practitioners in your area, a lot of them will be able to direct you to birth centers or midwives that do home births. or offer other holistic services to pregnant women and pregnant birthing people. What else? So let's talk about fertility support. So as a doula, I also offer fertility support. And fertility support is exactly what it sounds like. It's just supporting someone during preconception on their journey trying to conceive. That looks like different holistic sessions, which might be energy healing, it might be reflexology, it might be space holding, trauma healing, different activities like that. I might suggest some herbs or some teas, some tinctures, different massage techniques. So the fertility support can look different depending on where you are in that journey, how long you've been trying to conceive, what you've tried, and what you're open to. Because that's another big thing too, is not everyone fits everything. So that's an option. If you're interested in anything like that or anything that I talk about here, you can go on my website at concreteroseholistic.com and book a consultation so that we can talk and kind of just feel each other out and feel each other's energy. Vaccines. So a lot of people are concerned about vaccines and different types of vaccines and vaccination in general, but are fearful to not vaccinate, fearful to vaccinate. There's just a lot of information on both sides that seems very aggressive. So that's also something that you can talk about with your doula, and most doulas will provide you with information, the risks and benefits from each, and the sources where you can do your own research without judgment. So just in general, when you're picking a doula, there's some key things that you want to talk about during your consultation to see if you guys are on the same page. If there's anything specifically that you're completely against or absolutely for, then it's important that you speak with your doula about that to see if you guys will make a good match. Because there are some doulas that are anti-hospital births, let's say, or anti-vaccine, or anti-medical intervention or whatever. At the end of the day, we're all people that have different experiences and different thought processes, and you just find somebody that is aligned with your values and your thoughts, and be open to doing consultations and being honest in those spaces. The last thing you want is to have a doula that you're not clicking with, because then you're not going to use the opportunity to its fullest. So, what else? If you're interested in being a doula. Okay. So if you're interested in being a doula, there's some options. So one is signing up to get your training through a organization that provides you with certification. So doula work is currently unregulated here. And that means that basically there is a number of different organizations, big and small, that have a variety of views, values, missions, techniques. It's wide open. And I can tell you that it's important to read the scope of practice, the roles, the missions, the requirements for each organization before you decide where you're going to train. And as a birthing person who would be interested in hiring a doula, if that's important to you, then you can always ask the credentials of your doula. Some doulas are trained by experience and life and are from the school of hard knocks, I'll say. Some are very like, I went through this organization and I finished the certification and here's my certificate and here's that. I'm not going to say one is better or one is worse. It just really depends on the person, because I've seen people that I wouldn't hire and they were certified through certain organizations. And I've seen people that, it just depends. I'll just say that. It depends. It's not like a normal degree type of deal. Yeah, depends on the person. What else? Oh, I was asked this recently. What if your partner doesn't want you to have a doula? So this is a interesting question, and based on my personality and my experience and just the way that I think, my answer is going to be a little bit more direct, but I would say first ask. I would want to know why your partner doesn't want you to have a doula. To me, that's a red flag, because doulas are literally there to support you. There's no ulterior motives for doulas. That is our mission, to support you and provide you with that empowerment, education, and comfort during this trying time. So, during this potentially trying but amazing time. So if your partner does not want you to have a doula, that's a conversation that you need to have with them. And me personally, I think that's an even more of a reason to have a doula, because at the end of the day, you want to be supported in the best possible way. And obviously, I personally feel like doula care is one of those ways. What else? Okay. So a lot of people heard the term doula, and so it's becoming more mainstream and popular. So people have like these preconceived notions about what that is. Erica Badu, and it just is what it is. Like it's the same type of support. Yeah. And again, just to reiterate, everyone doulas differently. So yeah. That's it. That's it about that. So breastfeeding. Breastfeeding is common. It's common to get breastfeeding support from your doula. However, lactation consultants are a thing if you're having trouble. And yeah. So talk to your doula about it, and she'll tell you how much you can help. And if it's only to a certain point, I'm sure she'll be able to direct you to some lactation consultants. But like me, I'll help with the first latch if needed. I provide peer support, breastfeeding peer support, because I've been breastfeeding for almost 2 years now. So yeah. What's next? What's next? It cut off on Instagram. I live in a rural area, so there it goes. Okay, so I just talked about breastfeeding support and basically how your doula might be able to provide it, but lactation consultants are a thing, so keep that in mind. Doulas are not home births. They're not just for natural births. You can have doula if you got a C-section, if you're getting a C-section, planned C-section. You can have a doula if you're adopting. There's also doulas to accompany, like for me, I provide doula care and services for adoptions, birth, postpartum, abortions, because at the end of the day, doula care is about supporting. Like that's literally the most important part. So whether or not people agree with these different tactics to conceive or to deliver or to not deliver or to whatever, there are people still going through these processes and there's people still going through these paths that still need support. So, that still need support. So, yeah. So there's doulas for a variety of reasons. What else? Oh, this is a common question too. Is being a doula my full-time job? I am a doula. That's one of the ways that I make money. I guess the question is really like, how do I make money? So being a doula is one of the ways that I make money. Also just different work around reproductive health that I do. So I'm also getting certification in reflexology. So offering reflexology, offering energy clearing, selling products, normal ways that people make money. And I'm a mom too. So I guess all of that is part-time compared to me being a full-time mother. So why do you need a doula? I think that eventually I want it to get to the point where nobody needs to hire a doula because we all know doulas in our family and in our communities, in our spaces, and in our lives. But right now it's just the education piece and the empowerment piece and the support piece. Like I feel like I've said support. That's the hot key word of the day, but support. At the end of the day, that's the most important part of this whole thing. And we don't understand that someone supporting us through maneuvering these medical spaces can very well be the difference between life or death. And I'm not even being dramatic about that. So, yeah, that's the important part. So what else do I do? So I provide fertility support, birth and postpartum doula support, reflexology, energy clearing. I do custom care packages. So the custom care packages are centered around reproductive health. So I'll make packages for someone that is in their second trimester and they want something that's, going to support them during that part. Or postpartum. So what kind of package is going to help support them in their postpartum healing in case they don't have a doula, or just not having to think about what they need to buy or what they need to order or things like that. Packed labor bags. So also just what to bring to the birth center or the hospital that you may need in that moment. These are just all things that's just like when you're pregnant you don't want to think about these. Like, you don't want to be thinking about like, oh, I got to pack all this stuff. I got to check this off. I got to do this. You're already thinking about when's your next appointment. You're already thinking about like what all these options, probably planning maternity shoots and baby showers. You don't want to think about that. So care packages are just either they're commonly given as gifts to a pregnant person or bought by a pregnant person for themselves because they don't want to have to think about that. So, yeah. So the last 5 minutes, the last 5 minutes, I want to talk about this influx into holistic health and how now it seems like everyone is trying to be more holistic, more alkaline, or more, just conscious about what we're putting in our bodies, what we're putting on our bodies, how we're maneuvering in this space. And for those that it's a trend, it's still a blessing because at the end of the day, these are the things that we need to get back to. There's so much that our ancestors and earlier generations have done and that we've forgotten because they weren't passed down or they're not talked about or a more convenient way has been pushed. More chemically enhanced ways have been sold and bought and used. So continue to research, continue to go down this journey of finding what's more holistic, what's conscious, what's natural, what's organic, what's older, what did our people used to do, and don't judge yourself for that. Like, that's great. I love that. I've been buying books after books, listening to podcasts and just becoming consumed in this. Because that's what you need to get back to. Eventually, I want to grow my own food and go down that path. But so that's where we are, and that's a blessing. I'm going to wrap this up with some promo. There's some things coming up that are going to be really exciting. I have some courses coming soon. Follow me on Instagram at Concrete Rose Holistic. Go to my website and follow the blog at concreteroseholistic.com. Follow my personal page at Mama's Reign, and that's MAMASREIGN. I'm also going to be doing a collaboration with Lav and Body Care. So follow at Lav and Body Care. And we're going to be doing a series of lives and sessions that are going to lead up to a Zoom event where we're going to be talking about womb health, self-care, self-love, and just a lot of important things that are related to progressing this conversation and getting us all as a community into this direction of taking care of ourselves wholly. What else is coming up? Because now it's getting into the winter seasons, so expect to see more products. I like to kind of take a break of services during the winter months. But yeah, there's going to be an influx of products. Look for different care packages. I'm working on different products that provide a full service experience without basically requiring in-person contact. So everything is working on being very COVID friendly. And I just want to wrap this up with saying, be safe out there. There's a lot going on. Take care of your mental, physical, and spiritual self. And I will see you next Tuesday at 2 p.m. answering questions or just ranting about things that I know are common questions. So the more questions you send me or the more questions you have, the more that it'll push this conversation. Thank you for viewing, and thank you for watching. If you're not live, thank you for watching this later on. And make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel at Concrete Rose Holistic. Check out my other videos. I have like my birth on there and like just different information. So have fun, go explore, enjoy. Thanks again. See ya.